Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. So, a little bit of change of scenery. I'm in my garage because my family's still awake and I don't want them to find out that I'm doing this. It's kind of weird. Anyways, a little bit of, you can see my water heater in the back, some hockey gear, so that's cool. But, yeah, so this is my favorite albums from 2020. I'm gonna go through them one at a time. They're in order, so I like number one better than number two, etc. And yeah, these are just albums that I listen to. So if your favorite album isn't on here, I either didn't like it or I didn't hear about it at all. Honorable mention goes to Godthrymm with their album Reflections that came out February 14th on Profound Lore Records. It's some really solid epic doom featuring ex-members of My Dying Bride. It's heavy and melancholic with a really tasteful atmosphere. There's a lot of reverb on everything, so it sounds super old school, and it's just awesome. There's really, they aren't afraid to sit on a really good riff either, and so yeah, it's just great stuff. For number 10, we actually have a guest. Someone special is going to talk about an album that we both liked, and yeah, so take it away, Aiden.
Hey guys, it's me, Grindcore Guy. I'm actually here with my cat Nelly for the number 10 spot, which is Contrastic's brand new Manum record. It's a great record. It's actually on my top 10 list as well. It's obviously a Grindcore record, and the story's pretty great. After a 7-year drought and a landmark release 20 years prior, Contrastic actually just snuck in at the end of 2020 with this monumental release. For the uninitiated, Contrastic self-titled is one of Grindcore's just shining jewels, an impressive display of death grind aggression, techno underbelly, so it's not only just a contemporary masterpiece, but it's more than stood the test of time. I beg you to check it out in your own time. So to see a new Contrastic record this year was not only just best Christmas ever, hands down, but another standard of excellence and grind that will rarely, if not ever, be matched within the genre. And Contrastic never focuses on just one musical idea or theme, but juggles multiple, Cirque du Soleil confidence, emphasis on mastery, excellence, and just that raw edge you can't get anywhere else. Not just convention and cohesion, but just taking it all to a new peak, broadening their sound beyond. They use that techno influence and prowess to transition, establish, and take their momentum and drive it forward like a train. They treat every synth and sample like its own separate instrument, and this record's just a marvel. Death grind, grindcore in general, not known for its songwriting, but every song on Manum is just so intricate, memorable, dynamic, layered. You can give it 1,000 compliments, 1,000 synonyms. It's great, and it will blow your mind, even if you're not a metalhead and you are not ready for the last tracks for Gargantuan Close. I wasn't, and I'm their biggest fan. So thanks you so much for Fanboy Metalhead for letting me take this number 10 spot, and I'll catch y'all later.
Anyways, yeah. Number 9 is Black Curse with their album Endless Wound, released April 24th on Sepulchral Voice Records. This is easily the heaviest album on my list. Black Curse is a death metal supergroup that consists of members from Chemist, Blood Incantation, Spectral Voice, and Primitive Man. This record is just gross, with a little blackened edge. It's got brutal riffs, but it's also smartly composed. And holy fuck, that guitar tone is something else. The guitars have a fantastic grating distortion to them that makes this record sound offensive in a good way. It made me uncomfortable in the best possible way on my first listen, and I was hooked. At only 38 minutes, it doesn't overstay its welcome either. This album does everything it needs to. It rips your face off and leaves. At number 8, we have Ensiferum with their album Thalassic that came out July 10th on Metal Blade Records. This is a surprising entry, to say the least. Folk metal giants Ensiferum released an album this year that, quite frankly, I had no expectations for. As someone who adores their early works, The band just hasn't been the same since Yari left to farm Wintersun. But with this release, they reversed the downward trend that they had been following, and put out a fun, energetic, and melodically interesting folk album that was really just a pleasant surprise. It's heavier and more aggressive than their last few records as well, which is a reassuring sign. It doesn't beat their first two records by any means, but it's easily the best thing they've put out in a while. And for a huge fan of the band like myself, it's refreshing to see. I'm frankly proud of them, and this album is good. Good job, guys. At number 7, we have Havukruunu with their album Uinuos Sota. I don't know, I'm not Finnish. Released July 17th on Nature Mocked Records. This is some Finnish black metal and folk. Havukruunu's new record is filled with energy, exciting riffs, fun folk melodies, and tons of words I can't pronounce. It's raw and aggressive, but it's also melodically sound as well. Very well executed, even if it may be a touch too melodic for some more hardcore black metal guys. It's got fun interludes with folk instrumentation, chanted vocal lines, tasteful and catchy guitar melodies, and soaring technical solos. It's really just fun for the whole family. The entire album has a really nice rawness to it in the production, such that it keeps the lo-fi sort of black metal aesthetic without sacrificing much listenability. It does sound a bit rawer than even some other black metal bands in this list, but overall it's really solid. It's fun black metal, which is something I'd never thought I'd say. Yeah, I like it a lot. Number 6 is Dark Fortress with our album Spectres from the Old World, released February 28th on Century Media. This is a melodic black metal group that has released a whole bunch of albums, and they released another one this year, and it's great. These guys are really established, and they have their work down to a craft. This record has some clean sections and some quieter parts, and it's a little less harsh than some of their previous stuff, but it's just as effective. It doesn't sound super raw either, so it's a great record to potentially introduce someone to black metal. It does everything very well, and the instrumentation from all the members is top-notch. It's consistently really solid all the way through, with some choruses that might make black metal guys a little surprised. It has weird and progressive not folk melodies. It has weird and progressive melodies that break up the aggression, along with some fun interludes. And it's all written in a very tasteful and mature way that demonstrates the band's songwriting creativity. All in all, it's a really good record, and a sign that Dark Fortress isn't afraid to experiment with their formula, and they still pull it off well. Number 5 is Draconian with their album Under a Godless Veil, released October 30th on Napalm Records. Swedish Gothic Doom legends, Draconian, released yet another great album this year. I mean, seriously, this band is incapable of releasing a bad album. It's a little less heavy than their previous stuff. It's got a somewhat prettier sound than you might be used to with Draconian, but I assure you it's just as emotional. The songs can be a bit sluggish early on, but they have this ebb and flow to them that makes your body sway with the rhythm as it draws you in. It can be beautifully pretty, but it also can just transition into crushing riffs and then go right back to pretty. And sometimes it's both pretty and heavy at the same time. And there's the angelic female singing on top of everything that just makes it a gorgeous record to listen to. The production is expansive, and the mix fills your ears as the hypnotically slow riffs lull you into a melancholic sort of trance. It's easily one of my favorite Doom releases in a very doomy year. Number 4 is Finntroll with their album Vredesvävd, released September 18th on Century Media. The Trolls, they are super established in the folk metal community, and this album is incredible. It's a fantastic composition, and you can hear that from the very first track. I mean, the intro sounds like a World of Warcraft cinematic. Like, seriously, It's epic, like gigantic, and crushing just Finnish folk from the trolls. Like everyone loves the trolls. This record is filled with fantastic hooks and catchy melody lines and plenty of folk instrumentation. It's orchestral, but it's also intense and melodic, but it's also heavy and aggressive. It's driving and incredibly energetic, and each part blends into the mix perfectly. It's really just a joy to listen to. Even though there are no English lyrics, there's recognizable and memorable choruses that keep you coming back. These guys are one of the most consistent and well-respected folk metal bands out there, and they just keep pumping out fantastic albums. At only 38 minutes, this record is addicting to listen to. Check it out. At number 3, we have Kvaen with their album The Funeral Pyre, released February 28th on Black Lion Records. This Swedish melodic black metal project it's sick. Incorporating tasteful elements of speed metal, this record is packed to the brim with driving riffs on top of pounding drums and topped with powerful vocal lines delivered flawlessly. The guitar tone is gorgeous, and it's a great example of a band creating a frigid sort of black metal atmosphere without sacrificing listenability. Melodically, it's very memorable, seeing as it's stuck with me since February. And I mean, when I first heard this album, I couldn't stop listening to it. It's an even 45 minutes, and there's not much filler here. Like seriously, the moment it ended, I just kept hitting play again. The guitar lines are addicting as fuck. Fantastic vocal hooks drive the aggression, and the stellar drumming ties it all together. There's recurring motifs used in the guitar lines that tie all the songs together and make this album flow expertly well. Structurally, a couple of the songs are relatively simple, and there's like verse-chorus structure, for example, but the vocal hooks and the riffs are so good that you don't mind hearing them a few times. The technical prowess and the creativity and songwriting shown here bring this album to the top 3 for me. And it's about Vikings, which is awesome. Number 2 is Necrophobic with their album Dawn of the Damned, released October 9th on Century Media. These prolific Swedes in Necrophobic have dropped yet another excellent record. They were formed back in 1989 by drummer Joachim Sterner, and this is their 9th full-length of just fantastic black and death metal. It could be argued that they're a melodic black metal band, but the distinction doesn't really matter, because bottom line is the shit rips. It's powerful, intense, and melodic, filled with fantastic riffs, and the top-tier drumming drives the machine. Pummeling verse riffs will lead into blasphemous choruses, which lead into soaring melodic solos. And the vocals are clear, loud, and evil, delivered with impressive skill and consistency. Hell, you can often understand the lyrics even. Strikingly, the production in this album is full, it's crystal clear, and it's overwhelming. It's not muddied whatsoever. You can hear every instrument loudly, and yet this doesn't sacrifice the intense and sinister atmosphere. This is still very much an evil-sounding record. I remember listening to this for the first time and being blown away. I kept expecting it to fall off, get uninteresting towards the end, or just have some filler tracks, but that wasn't the case. This album is quality, front to back, and Necrophobic outdo themselves with every song. And my number 1? Oh man, it's Paradise Lost with their album Obsidian, released May 15th on Nuclear Blast Records. I don't care, I fucking love this record. Paradise Lost, they're a foundational death doom band. They were formed in England in 1988, and they're one of the most influential doom bands of the 90s. And on their 16th full-length release, they just dropped a contender for my favorite of their records to date. I'm serious. This established band synthesized all the best parts of their various styles that they've played over the years, the death doom and the gothic metal, into this excellent concoction that highlights their maturity as a band and demonstrates their expertise as elder statesmen of metal. The first 3 tracks, the epic Darker Thoughts, the crushing Fall from Grace, and the haunting Ghosts, combine for one of the strongest openings I've ever heard. And subsequent tracks, The Devil Embraced, Forsaken, and Serenity, continue to impress, with heavy, expressive riffing at various tempos. Ending Days and Hope Dies Young are dynamic tracks with interesting melodic flow, and Ravengast is a slow, crushing, heavy finisher. The the bonus tracks, Hear the Night and Defiler, are very good too, but the core album is absolutely excellent, and it contains no filler. The guitar work is soulfully expressive and crushingly heavy, with a beautifully dark tone. The lead guitar is especially gritty, serving the style perfectly, and helping the lines carry just as much weight as they do. The clean and growled vocals are gorgeous, and they combine together for excellent effect, and they make you want to growl along in the best possible way. The compositions are thick and layered, with many different parts filling out the soundscape, and the production is just perfect, and I mean that. You can hear every part perfectly, and it all sounds fantastic. And it creates an enveloping dark atmosphere around the entire album. The overall product is just an incredible emotional experience, and one of my favorite Doom records ever. When this record came out, I listened to it over and over for weeks. I seriously couldn't stop listening to it. It both blew me away and grew on me at the same time. It's easily the closest thing to a perfect record this year for me. So, for reference, Obsidian was released about 2 months after the world ended, and the timing couldn't have been better. The record has been with me through the pandemic and a tough breakup, and it's really helped me fend off my depression this year. It's a truly stellar record for the doomiest of years, and that's why Paradise Lost Obsidian is my album of the year. But yeah, what did you guys think? Thank you for watching. Go subscribe to Aiden. He's super awesome. Or follow him on Twitter, I guess. I have links to either the Bandcamp or the YouTube or whatever for all these albums, so you can check them out. And yeah, so thank you all for watching. Follow me on Twitter too, and I love you all. Bye.